So then I go, normal summon increase. He goes, that's fine. I tribute so fast and go plasma. I let him get some time in, but he said that's fine. And I was like, okay, 2 judges are right here. I tribute for plasma and his face stinks. He's like,
I love that. I love that reaction every time. It's just like,
yeah.
It's a continuous effect. I can't.
Yeah.
Paralyzed. Paralyzed. It is D-Time's first interview with none other than, I am so honored to interview Nathaniel Christmas, aka Xmas Hero, the guy who went top 32 on stream at the North Carolina's World Championship qualifier. It was an absolute blast. If you haven't seen that, the guy's been going like viral across, especially the hero landscape. And it was something different and unique. And honestly, especially, something at the nationals, that's a once in a lifetime feat. So really an overnight hero, literally. And, I was happy to get his deck profile, but introducing to you guys, Nathaniel Christmas. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, D-Time, aka Michael Bowden? I'm just glad to be here, glad to share my experience with everyone.
Yeah. Awesome, man. And thanks for coming on. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on here. I definitely hope to have you on for many more. If you continue competing, stuff like that, you continue to do well. If you have any kind of ideas, stuff like that, I want to, we could just talk about what's going on with the meta, stuff like that. But so what is some of your, just like, some of your background, some of your general background, where'd you grow up, stuff like that.
All right. Well, so I grew up mostly in the LA area. I probably moved here when I was 5. I used to live more closer to the Long Beach area, but pretty much most of my life, LA. I tend to go to locals out here too. I will put out there, like, I do plan on competing and stuff still because I like to do it on my downtime. However, like I mentioned earlier on my channel, I am a cardiovascular ICU nurse. So, of course, that takes precedence over this, but I will be producing more content, and I would love to be back on your channel.
Oh, man, that's lovely. Hey, and you got a lot of people who love you. They want more of you. And in that deck profile, they're always asking, do you have a channel? And they want to see more of you. And you're such a gentle soul. They love you, man. You got that natural, just that natural, charisma. You got that natural thing where you just make everybody want to hug you. I can't think of the word, but like you just make everybody want to give you a nice big hug, man. It's just something about you. The charm. That's the word. You got that charm, brother. That's not something you can teach or fake. It's genuine. Now, how did you end up getting into Yu-Gi-Oh?
Okay, well, I've actually been playing, not competitively, of course, but since middle school. And I was that kid who would play at the lunch tables with his other friends. And then high school, we'd be in the basement classrooms playing. That was me. And it was just always an outlet for me to like just play with and connect with friends. And then as I started getting older, I started going to tournaments and stuff. Like the first tournament I've ever been to was one at Anime Expo. Yeah, I'm a huge nerd. I like stuff like that. And that made me want to look into more. And then I started going to regionals and stuff like that. And the rest there is history. And I just enjoy like competing because I used to play football too. So I've always just had like a competitive side to me.
Yeah, look, you're the first, I have a very similar story, as far as getting into Yu-Gi-Oh, stuff like that, middle school for me. But the first thing I noticed about you was your stature at the Nationals, man. I'm like, this guy is a giant. He's sure he wasn't a linebacker or something. I wouldn't want to mess with you, man, on a bad day. This guy's a true hero, man. He's like, think of Elemental Hero Clayman. That man will crush you. It's in the description. He is built to crush or something like that. Hero Clayman is no joke. Do not play with him. He's literally got that stature. But no, so let me ask you, how'd you end up getting into Hero and why do you play Hero?
So when I first started playing, I was on this Skill Drain Barbaros deck, and Barbaros is like my favorite monster. And basically I kept getting beat by heroes, especially by one of my friends. His name is Evan. And I was watching GX at the time, and that first episode got me. You know, when he OTK Crawler with the Flame Wingman off the skyscraper, and I was just like, man, I kind of like this deck, and it keeps beating me. It's got to be good. Let me check it out. And then, you know, that's when I started playing Gemini Beat, um, Little City, all that good stuff. And as I got older, I realized I did in high school. That's when I realized I wanted to be a nurse. So it actually started aligning with me because I was like, well, I do want to be here. I want to help people. I want to spread positivity and hope. So, and then the fact that I like this deck so much, I was like, yeah, let's rock heroes. I want to play heroes.
Yeah, man, dude, I could totally relate. Like, brief aside, when I first got into Hero, I was using like a Warrior Joey deck, and I was using, Warriors right when the DM era was going out and GX was just coming out, Lost Millennium. And then I noticed, those guys are Warriors too, but they're superheroes and they're way cooler and they fuse and stuff. I was like, yo, this is it. And then I saw somebody at my local library he had all the fusions, he had the Flame Wingman and the Thunder Giant, and he knew how to use them. Polymerization, I was like, yo, I'm playing Heroes for Life, bro. And the rest was history. So I feel you on that. Now, a lot of people want to know, especially, again, a feat as great as you did at the Nationals, what was your preparation and what was your practice? What was leading up to that event? What were some of your techniques, or at least what was your thought process?
Okay, so the irony with that is, in the past with events, I used to go super hard in the paint, and I would actually look at decks that topped and jot down notes and write down notes and things. However, like I mentioned, my schedule gets pretty busy because of my career and stuff. So the only thing I really did this time, like I still made sure to look at, actually one of the channels I looked at was yours, to see what other hero players are doing. And another one's Jaden VR. But then what I did, I was like, you know what? I don't have the time to put all those study resources in, so I'm just going to go to locals, talk to one of my friends. His name's Ediception. He's pretty savvy on the meta too, and basically try to deduce what the meta was. And the top 6 decks I deduced I should prepare for are Lab, Sword Soul, Despia, Dragon Link. Let me check because I still have my notes too. Lab, Sword Soul, Despia, Dragon Link, Vanquish Soul, and Runic Sprite. So those were like, okay, those are the 6 decks I got to worry about. And then I basically, as you can probably see in my deck list with stuff like Rivalry Goes In, I molded my deck around that to beating those decks. So I had about 2 weeks to prepare. But like I mentioned in my profile, about like a week into those 2 weeks, I decided I wasn't going to go. I was having a lot of self-doubt. I'm like, I miss playing at locals. I only won 1 local and the rest I was going neg. And I was like, I don't know. And then my sister talked me into it. She's like, you don't do things on self-doubt. So, and it seems like you really want to go. You should go. And I was like, you're right. I don't operate on self-doubt. And I decided to go.
Well, man, we're really glad that you did go, because look at this. I mean, again, once in a lifetime experience, and it was totally meant for you. So that's just absolutely awesome. So, and also, guys, take notes. This is champion material right here. This is what it takes to win. This is the type of stuff you have to do. Check your meta, see what's going on, do your ratios, look at, do your research on some of the top decks. That's a great starting point. Even when you're going into something like a regionals, so that's great, man. So if you want to know more, he has it all right here. He has a winner's champions mindset. Now,
and my bad, Michael. Something I did want to point out.
You're fine. Go ahead.
Not to say I didn't study, but I would also talk a lot of theory with the person who was actually my cameraman, Travell. And he takes a fighting game mentality to it. So those 2 different mentalities mashing up in one game help very much as far as like counter picking goes, or making sure your plays go through, or what you do when your plays don't go through. So that helped a lot too.
Oh man, I know a great deal about the fighting game community. I competed in Street Fighter V for a little while, and that exact grinder's mindset. You got to just run it through the lab over and over and practice your matchups and then, your frame data, stuff like that. And so you take that same competitive concept and put it in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not too much more different, despite some of the luck factor, but it's not too much more different, especially mind games, stuff like that. It gets pretty deep, actually. So, so curious, So in the Swiss, during the Swiss of the nationals, what was your experience in the Swiss match? I mean, it was how many rounds? It was 9 rounds day one, and then 3 rounds day two. So that makes 12 rounds total.
Rounds.
12 rounds total, and that's a lot of rounds, man.
Oh,
And no breaks. There was no breaks in between. So, what was your experience, man? You could give us a Reader's Digest, like from first all the way to the final one. Just explain it the best you can to us.
All right. So round one, I actually ended up playing against Lab, and I lost the die roll. So I was like, oh my gosh. Like when I saw he was playing Lab, I was like, I'm in trouble. But basically, I actually ended up winning that. I will say I did manage to not get eradicated, so that's a bit of luck on my side. But most of the stuff that ended up helping me was the things I practiced in theory. What do you do if your opponent has interruptions with Travell? And stuff like Book of Moon and Droplets was coming up a lot to where I was dodging things. So I know people are like, Droplets against Lab? Like, what? But that card's actually really good, not only to make sure your Stratus goes through and stuff like that, or even the mass change. Making those ladies smaller and making sure they don't get their recursion effects is pretty dang good. So that came up a lot. Round two, I ended up playing against Vanquish Soul. And I wish I had more to elaborate on this, but they lose the rivalry goes and guys. Like, I kind of just flipped those cards and it was that. It was a 2-0, and I did win the die roll. I did Dark Angel lock him and then rivalry for the first game. So that was that. And then round three, I played against Go Second Cash, and he actually he won the die roll and that's how I knew he was Go Second. He made me go first. So I was like, yo, okay, this is good info. And what I did against him, he actually shifted me game one. So I automatically assumed I was like Exosister or maybe because I know Exosister is like one of those rogue decks flying around, or Cash. So when I Hero Lives, I summoned the Stratos, and then I searched Shadow Mist, and I made Baguska. And then I passed to him, and he shuffles his hand a little bit. And he's like, Baguska. And then he passes, and then I OTK him. And then game two is when I saw a Cash card, because I was forced to pass because I bricked, but I opened Book of Moon. And he actually summoned Unicorn, and I knew he was going to search Theosis, so I waited for the Theosis. He Theosis, and I Book of Moon. He couldn't summon anything else, and he had to pass. And then I drew a starter and OTK'd him that way. Round four was actually one of my hardest matches. It was against Vanadium. I lost that die roll, and I only played Vanadium like twice before this tournament. And to be honest, I didn't have that much of a good impression against them because I'll admit I don't think I played against the best Vanadium players. But this one was really good. Like, I could tell he knew his sequencing, and his M board ended up being an Omni-Negate Search. And with Baron, he had this fusion out, and he had something else out that made me go, dang, I can't play the game. I forgot what. Sorry. But that deck's crazy. I'm glad that's the only time I played that deck, because I opened a Dark Ruler, and I drew my second one, but I still could not get past his board because he also had Imperm Ash. So I was just like, okay, well, that's that. But game two, I ended up doing the Dark Angel lock against him, so he had to scoop. In game three, no. Game three, it was game three this happened. He actually made me go first. So I knew the nib was coming, and he actually did Nibiru me. And this is when I flipped Rivalry, and he couldn't play.
It's the old medicine.
Yeah, so I was like,
put that in your pocket, bunghole.
So I was like, it's time to punish your punish. Like, that's what happened. So then I OTK'd him under Rivalry. And then, so moving on to the next round, round 5 was against Vanquish Soul again. And you guys are probably going to start seeing why I said Vanquish Soul was a good matchup for me. because this was another 2-0. I did win the die roll, but yeah, I
I'm
did win
sorry, I
the
couldn't
die
help
roll.
myself.
Yeah, so that's why I said it, because and I was like, I guess Vanquish shows, because I played against like 3 or 4 of them. I'm reading my notes as I'm saying it. I even though I won the die roll, this was the match where he opened Joel both times. Yeah, so people are like, how did you win through Joel? Heroes can't beat Joel. That's true. Heroes do have to end their turn versus Joel. But as you guys probably saw in the deck profile, what I did is I went Baguska. I set the rivalry. And I didn't even flip the rivalry. I waited. Baguska bought me 2 extra turns, and during this 2 extra turns is when I found out he actually had double Ash, because the turn when he was forced to pass back to me, I E-called Ash. So I was like, okay. So I was top decking starters, and then I drew Fusion Destiny, and then I switched to Baguska to attack mode to try to go out. I was like, yes, now's my chance. Fusion Destiny, and looking back, I probably should have Fusion Destinied first to try to get the hit confirmed. But then I realized, no, you kind of needed the damage if it does go out, because then your DPE can attack directly. But he ashed that too. So I was like, dang, Joel double ash. I was like, holy moly. So I got to hold this guy off. So after the Baguska, I attacked directly with Baguska. After that resolved, he tries to go off in our rivalry, and he's kind of stuck for a few turns there until I draw the Hero Lives. And then once I draw the Hero Lives this game, I no more hand traps. So I'm like, yes, like we're going. And then game 2, same thing. He joeled me with full combo, and he also actually so the same thing. I ended up I think I may have Gozened him there. It's either Gozen or Rivalry, one of those, because by then, since I knew he was running, Vanquish Soul runs a lot of hand traps in the mid range deck. This is one of the matchups where I actually sided the 3rd copies of both. So even though you hear me say open rivalry, I'm basically running 6 of the same card. So I'm not saying I'm supposed to see one, but it's a very good chance I will. And that match I did. So I saw it again, and I flipped the rivalry, and he couldn't really kill me. No, sorry.
You're okay. Take your time.
I forgot. Brother. Yeah, it basically comes down to this. I know he had Joel Nib, because he ended up. So it was probably Gozen, maybe. No, I think I may have drew the rivalry later. Maybe I made the same play where I Bagustoed him, because he did Joel me. And then when I tried to go off later, he nibbed me. And that's when I flipped the rivalry. So I was just like, okay. And then that's when I go off and kill him. But then, yeah, rivalries go to guys. But then we're going on to round 6. Sorry, I don't remember 2 in depth. I just in my notes I put rivalry Gozen's go.
This is a gold mine of information that aspiring hero players want to know. So thank you. You're good.
And then round 6, I played against Sprite Testudo Swap. I did win the die roll. However, this is the first time this board has literally got broken. And shout outs to this Sprite player, because he was amazing. And he was playing one of the 2 cards that can out this board. So I actually did do the whole Dark Angel, Dark Law, DPE, and Rivalry. And he outed it. And I was like, what? And this is how. He had the Econ. He was main decking Econ. He Econned. Tried to take a DPE. I was forced to pop. I was like, bro. I was forced to pop. And I think he also made Cosmic. I think he made Cosmic. But he outed the rivalry too. But however, as you're noticing, he's burning through all his resources on his stuff. So my next goal was like, okay, since he's outing this board, he's outing it. There's no, like, I have to make it, because I had favorite contact too. I was like, because you get it through your combo line. I was like, I have to make it to where he doesn't have a bounce back, like, that's strong enough to put me on the ropes. I have to basically shut him down, because my board's it's falling. It's falling to pieces. So I have to make it to where his board is weak and he can't come back after if I can't kill him. So that's what I was saving the favorite contact for. And he managed to get over the Dark Law off a Jet. I guess he didn't main deck Smashers, but he ended up searching the one that pumps their attack. So he ended up getting over them. And before he could exceed into anything, I favorite contacted him because instead of doing it early, like I said, I wanted to make sure he has nothing. And when I saw him search the one that attack gains, I was like, you know what? I'm going to let him use that instead of just popping him right then and there, because he only did it with one monster, so I didn't want to just pop one monster. I was like, I want to make sure I cut off his bounce back, and that was very crucial because he tried to make the whole gigantic play, and then that's when I popped. I was like, nah, we can't have that go off, and then that's what won me the game because I had a big old shining Neo swingman and he couldn't come back. So I was like, that's the lesson right there, guys. Even though you see your board getting broken, I know one of the common responses is just start flipping stuff and stopping them. If you come to the conclusion your board's getting broken no matter what, the next thing that is helpful to come to your mind is to be like, okay, how can I stop their crackback from being as strong? And I feel like that was a big factor in me winning that match. Now, game 2, oh my gosh. So in theory, this is something I've tested in theory. Leading in favorite contact going first or second. And sometimes I do take it out, as you guys saw in the feature match. But in this game, I left it in because I knew I'd be relying heavily on Dark Ruler no more. And it actually came up. So I know I opened Droplet and Dark Ruler, and he did set up the Testudo board. And what told me he was good, he didn't Testudo with the double cross right away. He didn't flip double cross into Testudo. What he ended up doing was he was waiting for me to summon. So I was like, okay, I have to. I go, a hero lives, and that's when he Testudos. But all the heroes tend to be under 1800 anyway, so I was summoning a bunch of things off of that. And then when I was ready to make a big play, that's when I droplet it. And so I went
now,
full
one
combo.
second, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you're talking about Irat Tetsudo Numen, the turtle?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, man, yeah. I think that fun fact, that guy translates to the turtle who was once God or something like that. Such a cool card, man. I always look, I'm like, dang, and he looks so godlike, just sitting up there on that podium. I'm sorry, I just wanted to, I didn't mean to interrupt, but yeah, I just wanted to, identify the card for the viewers. Appreciate you though. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. I know I'm using a lot of shorthand, so it's good that you're doing that. But yeah, he's looking hella. He sits on his pillar looking down at everyone. That's definitely the turtle god,
Yeah, it's awesome.
But long story short, yeah, I had to use the Dark Ruler first, and then he Testudoed, and then I dropletted him, and he was like, "Wow," and I was like, "Yeah, I kind of had a lot, but if I would have did my sequencing wrong, I lose that right there." And the reason searching favorite contact was important there, not only did I break his board, I was able to set up my own since I can't kill him and stop any way for him to come back. So it was really important in that match. Round 7. I played against Cash. I lost the die roll. It was a 2-1. The only thing I really, really, really remember from this one, because it was a long, grindy game, I remembered my DPE got ghost spelled, and I had my second Crusader left. And it came to a point to where I was like, dang, I have no gas. What do I do? But then I realized that DPE was engraved and I still had a Cross Crusader play, so I went Cross Crusader and summoned the DPE back. And proceed. He was at 41. Like I said, it was a grindy game. And all he had was a Fenrir, and I baited out the Fenrir somehow. And then that's when I proceeded to kill him with DPE Cross Crusader and I think a Stratos for game. So remember, DPE can't come back off a Cross Crusader. You're not out till it's out. But I did go through my poly. I think I even burned through Miracle. We were just going back and forth. It was crazy. Round 8. There's not much to say about this. I was at table 1 for round 7 and 8. Round 8, I ended up finally losing. I won the die roll, except it was just one of those hero hands, and I didn't open like rivalry or anything, to where I opened up a bunch of normal summons, and if he ashes my normal summon, I lose. And I literally thought, I was like, oh, if he ashes Stratos, I lose. I summon Stratos, and Law of Desires, it happened. So I was like, okay, that's fair. This was like the first time I like hard bricked. And throughout the tournament, most of the time I was getting stopped and had the resources to wait. But I got 2-0'd. And then game 2, basically what it came down to, Sorts was really good at breaking boards, but shooting and stuff. He was breaking my board, so we were in a grind game state. But because I opened Denier, I got greedy and sent Plasma off with Fusion Destiny. When in that matchup, that's you kind of want the Plasma. But I was like, I can always get it back with Denier. But turns out I needed the Denier to be able to send the Mally, and I needed to search the Plasma at the same time. So I took away my own crackback. And I ended up losing because of that. And fun to note, me remembering that loss came in later when I opened Fusion Destiny Mally. And I was like, nah, I'm sending Neos this time. Yeah, fun fact, you can send Neos to summon DP. And it saved me. So it's good to just keep that in mind, guys. It actually saved me in the next game, round 9. It was my written feature. And I'm pretty sure this was the game it happened, where I ended up sending Neos instead of Plasma. And I had Plasma as a crackback, game 2. But game 1, he destroys me. For the record, I don't know what any of the Rika cards do. I still don't. I just know their field spell's nuts. And yeah, that's all I know. So if you can get rid of the field spell. He did win the... No, I won the die roll, but I bricked. So this was another brick situation. I opened up like triple book, rivalry, and I think something like an increase. And I was just like, and believe it or not, triple book is not good enough against Rika when they got all their gas. And then the rivalry's not doing, they're all plants. So I was like, dang, this is when it kills me off. But then game 2, I Dark Angel lock him. And then game 3, it came down to, as you mentioned before, a mind game. I do end up basically... Oh, this isn't the game where the Plasma Sin came out. It came day 2. But this game was basically, he set up full board to where he had a negate. It wasn't full board. I remember him telling me his hand was a little on the weaker side, which astounded me because he still had 3 interruptions. He had the thing engrave that can basically negate an effect by shuffling it back. And he also had a Therion negate. And then he also had that Exceed that contribute. So I was like, bro, this is your bad hand and you're putting up three like interruptions. That's pretty good. So I draw for turn in his Plasma. And I do have Ferris combo with Mally in hand, so that's looking good, but nothing to really like directly stop his interruptions, like droplet or anything. So I'm thinking, I know if I get 3 monsters out, I win. The issue is I gotta trick him into being able to get those 3 monsters out because he can always negate Mally, he can negate Ferris, and I knew he was on the better side because 1, his record, and 2, how he played. So I was pretty confident he wouldn't negate the Ferris in hand. So I was like, okay. So I lead with Ferris in the Mally, summon Ferris. And then I know what he's waiting for since he didn't negate the Ferris. He's waiting for the increase. Everybody waits for the increase, which is correct. But I hard drew the Plasma. So I was like, okay. And then I had another increase in hand. Shout outs to 2 increase. So this is where I go.
It'll get you right.
And it got me here this time. This is how. I go out loud so he doesn't negate the Mally because that's another potential spot people like to negate because it's at 2. I was like, what do I do? 3 interruptions, bro. You said you didn't open good, and I believe you because I saw your turn 1, but this is still rough. And he's just like, yeah. I'm like, got him. I was like, got him. So I go banish the Mally. He lets it resolve. And then I still sit there. I'm like, this is rough. And I make sure he notices I'm looking at the increase in my spell and trap. So then I go, normal summon increase. He goes, that's fine. I tribute so fast and go fly. I let him get some time in, but he said, that's fine. And I was like, okay, 2 judges are right here. I tribute for Plasma, and his face stinks. He's like...
I love that. I love that reaction every time. It's just like,
yeah.
It's a continuous effect. I can't.
Yeah.
Paralyzed.
Yeah. So it's pretty much game from there. Because Plasma seals up anyway of him coming back, and then next turn I just follow up with the increase play to make DPE. So I'm just like, yeah, because I send Denier and then I bring back Denier polymerization, with the Mally Denier. But yeah, it was great. I was like, Plasma mind game too strong. And he even wrote on his paper, he's like, look, I'm taking notes. And because of you, I'll always remember this card. And it was Plasma with the sad face. So I was like, cool.
The mind game. Brilliant.
Yeah, no, mind games can get you there, guys. And as you can see, I wasn't being malicious with it or like, haha, Destiny hero pun, you know. I wasn't being like evil or lying.
Right.
It's just part of the game. You got to be able to like Yami Yugi them, you know.
Right.
So I'm moving on to day 2, round 10. I play against Sprite Gishki, and this guy bodied me hard. Like,
Mm.
I even made a Facebook stat. I was like, "Hey, I got bodied round 10."
Right.
And
Now, real quick, not to cut you short, I'm sorry, but we are starting to run short on time here on this Zoom thing. It's our first time doing this. It hit us with a
Mhm.
timer. We got like about 5 minutes left. So just let you know.
Okay, I'll wrap it up really fast. So yeah, he 2-0'd me. He opened up Nib with 2 interruptions, and then the other game he opened up Nib with Talon's Kurikara. So it's not Nib Heroes just lose to, it's Nib with other things. I just want to point that out, and that's what he had. So shout outs to him. And he did end up topping, so even better on him. Round 11, I played against Kashtira. It was a 2-1, lost the die roll. What basically brought it back was the fact that I had Plasma still in my deck, so I ended up making a late game Plasma, and I got it. Round 12 was against Despia, and it did go to game 3. However, some things happened that I'm not going to go over. Basically, because I don't want to bring up negativity. But
Yeah.
basically, yeah.
Yeah. I totally hear you on that, man. It's no worries.
Yeah. And then, yeah, that's that. And then, you guys saw my top 64 match against the Runic Sprite. You guys saw that. If you haven't, I will be uploading it soon. I'll leave that. It's a really great feature.
Yeah, definitely do your own voiceover on that and your own thought process going over that video. It would be much appreciated to the community.
Oh, okay. I wasn't thinking about it, but I
There's
will
a
do
nugget
it.
right there. There's a nugget right there.
And then top 32, I lost to the same deck I beat in the feature match, Runic for a higher sprite. Game 1 and 2 was amazing. It was back and forth. It was a grind. However, game 3, I bricked, and that's that. But even though I bricked, it was a great game nonetheless. So shout outs to my opponent.
Absolutely. I mean, we all seen, especially that Sprite Runic match. It was magical. So, and before we still got a few more minutes here. So that's an awesome. It was great meeting you there too. But we want to know, what is your favorite card?
My favorite card, no cap, is A Hero Lives. And I'm always quoting it on my Facebook because a hero shall live. And I feel like that's what happened at Nationals.
Yeah, the card art is amazing. Just your boy Woodsman just
just out there waiting to be a hero. I will say this though, if you guys ever hear me playing L-Lig, that's because my other favorite card is Skill Drain. So like I said, my roots was in Skill Drain first, but overall a hero lives.
Okay, awesome, man. What are your, some of your, what words do you have to the viewers who are watching and the people who are, aspiring to play heroes, or even, who watch you or whatever, what are, to somebody's getting new into the game, what are some of your words to them?
Guys, heroes are awesome. I know there's a lot of memes about them. Heroes are almost as awesome as Dueling. I know there's a lot of memes like Joel or don't pay attention to that. What you want to pay attention to is basically focusing on ways to counterplay their counterplay. Because if you can do that, you can come out on top. And that's not just for hero players. That's for people who have a deck that has a good engine in the first place. Because I'll say that about heroes. Heroes have a really strong engine. There's just inner problems you got to solve. But once you solve them, the deck, as D-Time knows, the deck just goes off. It does its thing. Like, heroes come back from crazy boards. I've seen it time and time and again. That's why I always believe in them. And I'm like, you know what? I also want to be a true hero. So I'm going to play this deck.
Oh, man, that's awesome, man. Thanks. And before we close out, where can the viewers find you, man?
Oh, so I actually recently made a YouTube, and D-Time will link it down below. So make sure to click those links, like, and subscribe. Absolutely. And then there's also my Twitter, Christmas Hero Nate. D-Time will also link that. But yeah, you can find me on those, guys.
All right. Well, man, thanks for joining us here. Those were some brilliant pieces of nuggets here for us, both newer and veteran players, especially myself. I learned a thing or two myself. It made me want to start main deck and droplets, stuff like that again. Man, you've even inspired me. I'm supposed to be D-Time now. You've inspired me. You've brought the hero out of me, man. So, and I'm definitely reinvigorated. I'm fired up. This is hero season. This is our season. So I really appreciate you joining us. Really appreciate you. And real quickly, do you have any last words?
Well, yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me. And like I said, I'm making this channel. I'm doing stuff like this because I want to be able to inspire and give hope and just show that you can have fun doing the things you want to do. So, and that fun has kept me from basically like sticking to my own dreams, like being a nurse. So, hey guys, just do your thing.
Okay, guys, there you guys had it. There you guys heard it. You guys heard it from the GOAT himself. And while you're at it, while you're here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, it's always D time and in more ways than one. That's a wrap.